Hello and welcome to Fluffy. Today we're going to be looking a little bit about the new MMO that's coming out called RaiderZ. Okay, Raiders, but the Z just makes me want to zzz it up. You can see there are 4 classes: Defender, Berserker, Cleric and Sorcerer. Kind of standard MMO classes. I'm going to go with Berserker because I like big two-handed swords and hitting people in the face with them. And this is an action-based combat game, so I really want to get in there with my melee and try it out. Just going to go through this quick character creation. It's not too vast and varied, to be honest. You can do enough with it. Set hairstyles, I'm not sure how much they're going to expand this on the actual release. This is closed beta at the moment. To remember, as they always say, beta is beta. You can change your own colours, obviously. This was the interesting part, that would, even if you did have a twin in the world, you could actually completely make your twin unique, as to say, battle scar wise or tattoo wise. So you can see when I zoom in now to the face, you'll see you can put scars and tattoos and then change the size and position on the face that you actually want them. So it's kind of cool. This would be nice if you could rotate them as well. Maybe you can, but I couldn't figure out how to. Maybe it's like a shift button or something you could press. But it kind of grabbed my attention this for a little while. Kind of interested in seeing all the tattoos and seeing what I could put on character and how stupid I could make him look. I decided to go for scar on the cheek, and then I thought, no, let's make it huge. It kind of looks like someone's drawn down, scraped down his eye a bit there. Bad wars, you see, bad wars with people with big long claws. Wars and claws. Then I realised that obviously I'm going to get some default rubbish armour because it's the only way forward. And if you've watched any of my other videos, especially my Zero one with the armour, you'll notice that I like blue. So obviously I go blue. Typical. I'm nothing but predictable. What can I say? So it loads in quite quick. Things I found instantly was how bright this game is. It's very very in-your-face, garish. I wouldn't say it was a bad thing. It's just quite, whoa. Yeah. Looks quite nice though. It seemed to move okay when I was messing around there at the start. And obviously you can swing your sword like a crazy man. And it does feel good. So this grabbed me, and this is what I hate about this game. I know it's an MMO, and it's just the questing system that I've come to hate because I've done it so much. Played so much WoW, that just doing this over and over again. But as questing systems go, it works really nicely. It's well presented. It makes sense. He's got another one there that I need to pick up as well. So I'm not too unhappy with it. I just wanted to go and kill stuff, so obviously I didn't read anything, which would have been useful, I suppose. But then I've got this flashing icons on the map, and I suppose it's all about the combat really. I don't know anything about the story of this game. That was me trying to dodge for the first time. You can see it's kind of good, and the combat feels very kinetic. It's very nice. The sword feels heavy. It's definitely good. It's definitely good. I think the only problem I had with the combat after a while, that was my number 1 skill there. You see, knockdown. The only problem I had with the combat was it's quite clunky. I played a little bit with the sorcerer. And I actually found he was a bit less clunky. I'm not sure it's just because he's got such a big sword, and maybe if I used like a small sword, shield, sword and board it, then maybe it'll be a bit better. Oh, look at that dodge, yes. But the combat is definitely satisfying in this game. It's great fun, and the monsters are brilliant. Some great artwork in the monsters. Not too sure about the ground and the grass, but the monsters are really nicely done. I think that some of the animations are a bit kind of bland. Like, what I'd really like to see is when the monster turns around, him not kind of just skating on his feet. You can see that happen there. But I suppose, you know, beta's beta. Maybe they're going to put that in later, because the animations are definitely not lacking, especially on some of the bigger bosses. So obviously I'm going to just bum around here now, and I might just cut to the next part, because this is, you know, go and find 14 goat's testicles and stuff like that. So what I do like about this game is the way these tooltips pop up like this. When you're starting the game off, they pop up semi-regularly, but they're not particularly irritating, and they give you actually, you know, decent information that you instantly try and know about, and then you remember. And it works really well. They're not always in your face. It's kind of nice. Obviously this guy wants to talk to me, but then he wants me to read, and you know, I'm a big reader. I read a lot of books. I'm, you know, Wheel of Time, waiting for the 14th book. Oh, it's coming. January, I think. See, I'm off on one now. Mistborn. That's a great book series if you haven't read it. But I just don't want to read in a game, you know. It doesn't make me want to read it, because I just want to hit stuff in the face with a big fat sword and make it bleed. And I'm sorry, I just can't. I can't RP. I can't do it. I actually went on an RP server once, and everyone was walking around, and I just couldn't do it. This guy really made me laugh. It's a freaking card, look at it. That's awesome. The character creation in this game is brilliant. I really like it. It's really imaginative. I don't so much like the music though. I find it a bit anime? I don't know. It's very... I suppose that's the whole game though, isn't it, really? What am I talking about? I can always turn the music off. It's definitely well done and nicely, you know, put together. It's just it's very whooshy. So here I'm just I'm completing the quest I got from the pirate lady when I was talking about Wheel of Time books, and I've got to buy a recipe so I can craft a new sword. But obviously I've got to go and find some copper ore. Now I spent a good few minutes running around the town seeing if I could just buy some copper ore from someone, because I didn't want to go and either mine it or find it. But obviously, because this is a tutorial area, he gives me a quest to go and clean up the beach, and if I'd just gone and done that quest to clean up the beach, then I would have been able to get the ore pretty much straight away. So I'm just going to skip to that bit so I don't bore you with me running around the village being an idiot. So the beach is here. Here are the crabs. They're awesome. Again, more brilliant creation of characters and creatures and monsters, and it's brilliant. I really, hats off to the guys. They break away nicely as well. You'll find you'll be able to pick up parts of monsters and hit other monsters with parts of monsters. Like that club there I'm just running over. Someone obviously hasn't picked that up. It's not my loot to pick up, but you can actually pick up things like that and use them. That number 2 ability there is kind of like does damage but also dodges. It's kind of nice. Again, I've got to get the timing right on these because you're quite slow with the greatsword. Getting the dodge in is quite tricky sometimes. These guys are awesome too. They're kind of weird fish men. Obviously evil and not really doing much on the beach, and I'm just going, you know, going around and killing them all. Now, looting in this game is quite easy. You've got a magic E button which kind of interacts with everything, kind of like the F button in Guild Wars 2. So basically, if you find some loot or something sparkling, you can just hit E and then E again, or what I found is if you hold down E, it'll just loot it all for you quite nicely. You also don't have to wait until it sparkles. I was told this by a very helpful player a little bit later on after I'd recorded this video, and he said to me, you don't actually have to wait till it sparkles, basically. It wasn't a big story. It wasn't like I was, So, yes, when you're looting stuff and you're waiting for it to sparkle, don't worry about it. Just hit E and hold it down and you'll be alright. I'll probably try dodging a bit more than I have as well. Oh look, there we go. As if by magic. So these things take time to get used to. And I obviously run around here beating all these things and complete this quest. These are obviously guys who are very slow to try and break me in to stop being a noob and be able to dodge them. I found that if you hold right click down, you can actually block. See, that's me trying out that ability there, which is W and left click. That gives a kind of slice down, which is kind of nice. You can also do one backwards, I found as well, as soon as I was told that. I like the way you can kind of dynamically change your moves. It's kind of cool. You can't do that in Guild Wars 2, which is it's a nice feature, nice difference. Chop chop. So I get to the end of this part. Let's scoot forward a bit. So I found my ore, and I go back to see Mr. Loco Man, and I've got enough to make it. So I press craft, and you'll prepare yourself for the cheesiest cutscene ever in the history of crafting. Yeah, it's done. God. Sorry, cynical English person. Typical. It's what we all are. We're all just cynics. So yeah, that's cool. Created the sword. I will remember to put it on in a minute after talking to the cod man, who laughs at me. I'll go and see the pirate lady. So the sword I've created now is actually quite nice. It's got some a nice bit of etching on it, graphically. So once I've gone through the WoW section of picking up quests, I can equip my great sword. Oh no, it's not. Oh, is it? Oh, I thought it was the one. Maybe I got a different one then afterwards. Oh yeah, I think I made one afterwards, didn't I? I just noticed then that actually this is a good thing to notice. When you create a character, you do actually start with a load of weapons. And, as I noticed afterwards, there is weapon switching in this game. So if you put in your hero tab, where your weapons and such like are equipped, you can actually equip weapons in your secondary weapon tab and then hit tab when you're in game to switch between weapons, which is nice. I didn't realise this until I did it by accident on my sorcerer and went sword and board completely by accident and ended up not being able to cast spells because obviously a staff is the only thing you can cast spells on, which is something that I'm actually a little bit irritated about with the sorcerer. I'd rather have the ability to cast spells on everything rather than just kind of the staff, but then the staff does loads of damage anyway when you're hitting stuff. It's actually a lot easier to play with the sorcerer, I think, because you've got the ranged and you've also got the melee, which actually does some damage. Now, yeah, it does about the same amount of damage as well as the white damage there. Wow. So maybe that's something they need to think about, because you can actually do some decent damage with these spells and then get in there and finish them off with melee. And still dodge, obviously. So here we go, we've got the obligatory boar and bear meat. MMOs come out, there's got to be like kind of animal rights protesters somewhere complaining about the fact that it's always boars and bears. Would you class it as racist, or would you class it as, I don't know. Anyway, this poor bear that was just grazing or whatever he was doing. We're just slicing him open, getting his meat. So I'll fast forward this bit because we don't want to see me bashing boars and bears constantly. So here I find I've got some skills I need to spend on my level. When I level up, I've got a point I need to put in. It looks like you can only put it in the skills with a plus next to them, which I'm not too sure I like, because I've got 2 skills there, which I kind of like picking a skill and then kind of working on that one for a while. So I decided to go with two-handed mastery. Thought maybe that's probably the best thing to go with there. Now, like I said, a bit of a shame you can't dictate that you want to put more points into one skill that's already been picked up. And from the skill bar, it looks like you get quite a lot of skills, which I'm also a bit meh about. Again, I've been spoiled by Guild Wars 2, I suppose, in that sense. So I give the fish whatever he wants and he's happy. Oh yeah, boar and bear meat, that's what I was doing, wasn't I? But before all that, I forgot. I actually created some stuff. So you probably want to see some crafting. Some more crafting. What I'm doing here is creating stuff to complete the quest that I was given, which is to create some antique things. They're just basic level crafting items, which just show you how to craft, basically, it seems. They are better than what I'm wearing, so I do upgrade myself. I then realised that I'm a warrior, so probably don't want to be using kind of cloth armour. Yes, I know. What can I say? I was just looking at buttons and pressing things. So I go down and find some leather stuff now. Probably the better thing to be using for my class, profession, whatever it wants to be called. Speciality, maybe? So I create some pants and I create some boots. And a tunic. And I think I keep the gloves that I created before. Everything complete. Yes. P. And then we equip stuff. You can say that I suddenly become super awesome. So yeah, we found him. Obviously, this is the. It's just so depressing for me to do this again. But if you don't mind it, if you don't mind doing kind of WoW kind of quests and the whole shopping list thing, I think you'll really like this game, because the combat does really make it quite nice. So I'm just going to run down here and do some killing of fishmen, which is a shame because they're kind of cool and I like them. And I pick up some glyphs and I think I fight a big boss type man. So I'll just see if we can get to that part. Yeah, so here it is. It looks kind of cool. Big kind of stone minotaur thing. One thing I found in this game as well is sometimes you do actually have dodged out of the way of something, and so you do kind of dodge out the way of something, but it will actually lag, and although you've dodged out the way, you'll see the animation the creature does to try and hit you, and that animation will just kind of it will still play, and then you'll see the splat of blood even though you're like 3 yards away from the actual monster. So again, beta is beta, but lag wise that's a pain, because it doesn't feel particularly laggy at the time until you've actually tried to fight something, and then you're getting hit a few seconds after you've dodged and moved completely out of the way. So obviously I'm just doing the always famous pick up glyphs quest. Very nice glyphs though, very pretty. And then I run back and hand in this quest. And here he is. And that was my experience of RaiderZ so far. I can see this game being really interesting in a group, fighting bosses and things like that. And it's a really nice little MMO. It's going to be free to play. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's definitely a good mix between traditional MMO and action combat. I think there's a lot of things still need to be tweaked, like the controls do feel a little bit slow sometimes when you're fighting. Again, I'm not sure if that's because I'm using the biggest sword known to man, or because they are actually just laggy. The animations you can see are pretty nice, and it just works quite nicely. It's quite solid for what it is. If you can manage to get into the beta, I think it'll probably be good to see what you want to see, if it will suit your playstyle. And I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll probably put some more up later, possibly, if I get some time between stress tests. Like, comment and subscribe as always, and I'll see you again next time.